Hello and welcome to another eCom Ops podcast. Today I'm talking to Jay, who is the founder of an AI startup called Zingify and also MYP. Welcome to the show, Jay. Great to have you here. And we've just discussed prior our recording that Jay is from Australia. I'm from Austria. We are 4 p.m. here at Jay's office and 8 a.m. in the morning here for me. So it's really cool to have such interviews around the world with such a gap in the time zone that really makes it outstanding. So thanks for joining us today. Tell us a bit more about yourself, Jay.
Sure. Um, I used to be a medical doctor. That was my first degree. And then I transitioned to technology back in 1998, 1999, right? Now, after 25 years in the industry, I run two companies, and we have a team, about 40 people across 4 countries, building digital platforms, digital businesses. And I love what we do.
That's cool. That's cool. And I mean, AI is something that is really in every mind and every mouth at the moment. And you built an AI startup called Zingify. Tell us a bit more about yourself. What's your mission there? What are you doing with the AI?
Sure. So Zingify originally started, we used to call it Master Dojo back in 2018. Um, I value personal development, the education a lot. And there is a whole lot of personal development and education that we all receive. That is outside of our schools and university type of education. And I used to have this dream of, how do we make some of the master expert wisdom that is available, with only special certain types of consultants or leaders that we all aspire to, and learn from them. And how do we make it accessible to the masses of the world? And I had this dream, this vision of, okay, what if I can create an AI avatar of people like Tony Robbins or Nelson Mandela? There's so much for us to learn from biggest leaders. If I can create their AI avatar and then make it available for people to interact with it, there's so much good that can happen in the world. So I've been dreaming about it, working on it since 2013, 14. 2018, we actually started the company with a pure mission of, okay, let's make the biggest and most expert knowledge, not necessarily knowledge is information, but wisdom, accessible to the people of the world. And that's what Zingify focuses on.
Super. And how does that work? I mean, it sounds a bit like Star Trek's holodeck, uh, directly in the Enterprise.
Yeah. Well, let me explain this to you in a simplest way. So let's just say you are an author, you are an expert consultant, you are masterful at what you do. And so what we will do is, podcast recordings, audio, video recordings, any articles or books that you might have written. We take your knowledge, your IP, turn it into a right kind of content, and train machine learning algorithms and AI to become like you with your content, with your knowledge, expertise, audio, video recordings. Uh, and then we create the AI avatar, audio, video, interactive avatar that is just like you, but it's your video, uh, and we train it to and make it available on the website, on mobile apps, on social media, so that now you and I can only work for X number of hours in the day. Other times we have our families and other things to attend to, but your avatar can work 24/7. So if deployed on your website, on the mobile app, on the social media, then people can interact with your avatar, and 80 to 90% of your knowledge, and it's literally interactive experience that can be applied, whether you are a coach, consultant, then it can be in a service delivery, consulting service delivery, and a coaching delivery space. In a sales context, it can be the avatar people can interact, and from a prospecting, uh, lead nurture, and a sales context, avatar can do 80 to 90% of what you already do. And then that frees up people's time and monetize the knowledge and IP in a number of ways while reducing the cost of service, because the time for revenue business model can be disrupted that way.
Okay. And for whom is it? For who is using Zingify?
So Zingify, training and development companies, coaches, consulting businesses, anyone who is in any business that's involved in training, developing, education, human capital, people development perspective. They are the people, whether it's an individual, sole provider, or businesses, they are our customers.
Okay, cool. And how to sign up? So how does it work to get started with something like that?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So it starts with, people can go on zingify.ai, our website, and send an inquiry to us. And what we'll do is we'll schedule a meeting. We'll assess, how much content they already have. There are a lot of clients who came to us with, they don't already have a lot of content that can be used to train the AI, in which case we actually work with them to produce that content in a way that can be used to train the AI. If they already have a content, then we take that content, upload it on a platform, train the AI, take their videos, produce their avatar, and we publish it.
Cool. It sounds so easy, actually, right?
But that's what our goal is, to make it easy,
Yeah.
to remove the technical complexity away from the people who have incredible knowledge, expertise, and wisdom to offer. Remove the technical gobbledygook, and take care of what they need. Provide them the tools and technology so that their genius and the wisdom can spread along the world.
And don't you are afraid of that this technology might be let's say abused? So someone is selling coaching and doesn't do the coaching himself, but using an avatar to do that, or will people recognize that this is an avatar?
People will recognize that this is an avatar. There are disclaimers that people have to accept, that they are interacting with an AI avatar. And the whole goal is, if you are a coach or a consultant or a trainer, right, knowledge expert or wisdom thread, your current business model is purely time for revenue, right? Then it's about scaling it. So there is always an acknowledgement that this is an AI avatar people are interacting with. There is a disclaimers, legal terms and conditions that needs to be accepted. If 80% of the questions can be answered by an AI avatar, then the real human, the time can be spent into high value add activities instead of repetitive information that can be taken care of by AI.
Yeah. I understand. So that's a good method, I think, if you really show that this is an avatar. And yeah, as we are an e-commerce podcast, e-com operations, SaaS technology is e-commerce as well. You are selling online. How do you find your customers? So what do you do to get those visibility online and make the sales?
Very good question. So historically, when we started, it was always through the networks and referrals. We had our own app through which, and then we only recently we started the social media campaigns. From an e-commerce perspective, it's no different than building a funnel, and through have a whole lot of content strategy, valuable content, building a funnel, and then driving traffic to the funnel via the ads. Similar thing that we do.
Yeah. And do you do demos, or is there a self-exploration portal?
We do the demo. It's currently more of a high-end service, because one of the biggest thing we had to be responsible for was that we don't end up creating deep fakes. Right. So we do demos, and there is a services that we provide. We are slowly moving to more commoditization of it at a much lower end of the subscription, but we are not there yet. So we start with that. We will move to self sign up, and do it yourself, upload everything yourself, and choose your avatar kind of experience. But we're not there yet.
And what is your system? How do you, I mean, especially in SaaS, everything is a recurring business. How do you manage the monthly recurring invoices and
Yeah.
credit card charges?
So we use Stripe as our payment gateway,
Yeah.
right? Our charging model is very simple, based on how many avatars, how many instances you are publishing, how much data is used to train the AI avatar. We of course use ChatGPT in the back end to train the AI. The OpenAI APIs is to do that. The recurring charges are based on how many avatars and how many instances of the avatar you have published, and then how much data storage is there. So there are different plans that people can sign up to.
That's very interesting that you are using Stripe. I mean, this is like when we have a podcast interview in the e-commerce world, then
Yes.
the most typical answer is I have Shopify and Shopify payments. And in
Yes.
the SaaS world, it's so typical that I hear we have Stripe and Stripe billing. So that's really so typical setup in SaaS. How important is for your company? How important is automation, especially if there is new content coming in from a publisher that has an avatar? How important is automation in your world?
It is critical. Like we are
Yeah.
an AI, Zingify is an AI company. Uh, it is, it needs 100% automation, right? That's what we strive for. So there is literally no human touch involved. Uh, in that goal, we are probably 90% of the way there. The last 10%, there is still, as I said, book a meeting in a sales process instead of completely automated self-serve process. So there are aspects of it, and it needs to make automation, my view, because I run another business and a tech automation business as well. Uh, One of the critical thing is automation has to make sense. Automation has to be in the context of the customer experience we are targeting, right? And the value of the service. Even our service is at a higher end right now. There are aspects where it's human touch involved. The delivery is 100% automated through the technology. But in a customer support and a sales process, we actually have various human touch to ensure that we can provide a premium experience to our customers. So instead of a full automation right now, again, also part of the maturity.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I also believe in automation and that it's such a critical aspect of any kind of company, because whenever you can automate something that makes sense, of course, yeah,
Yes.
you're absolutely right. It needs to make sense. But if you have a repetitive task and you can automate that, you can save so much time and especially avoid human error,
Yeah.
which leads actually to bigger and faster growth in a more reasonable time. Look,
Yeah.
how can we use AI in e-commerce? What would you say?
Yeah, very good question, right? What a lot of e-commerce companies, there's always a challenge I have seen, the strategic of, okay, we have to be selling everywhere, about, all the channels. We have to activate all the channels to generate traffic. And use of AI in, needs to be very strategically thought through for each channel. Traffic generation was one aspect. Conversion is another aspect. Fulfillment is the next piece. But then what happens after the fulfillment? How do we get the customer back? It's that delivering that experience across the acquisition, engagement, activation, fulfillment, and the after the order was fulfilled. What's the experience? If there are any complaints, a refund process, and it's providing the whole experience. I think AI can be used across every aspect of the value chain.
Super. And what do you think? How will the AI change our lives in the next 5 years? What will happen with
Yeah,
the AI?
in the context of e-commerce, right? I think
Yeah, yeah.
uh, there's a lot of conversion, process, acquisition and conversion process, targeting. Uh, AI is literally acting as a steroid. Social media platforms we have been using social media platforms. We have been using AI without necessarily knowing about it. targeting on Google, targeting also Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. It's all AI in the backend algorithms, right?
Yep.
Ruby targeting. Uh, Understanding how that works is critical. But now AI agents actually act in a lead generation, and that's what Zingify is doing. AI agents can actually recognize the intent and nurture the client, providing very interactive experience. We're going to see a lot more rather than just the landing pages for product sales, a more humanized experience, but more targeted in the context. AI is providing and enabling those humanized experience. That's in an acquisition and in a conversion part of the process. We're going to see so much of that. I land on your website, and now I have an AI assistant who is actually there, standing next to the product and interacting with what is the product I am actually looking at.
Yeah.
And prompting, like those kind of digital experiences is what we are going to see more and more of.
Yeah, and it's also an interesting thing because um, whenever you go into a typical brick and mortar store,
Yeah,
a bigger one that has a lot of branches and an average employee set of people, you ask them questions, the people there, and sometimes you come to people that do not have the knowledge to give you answers about the products that you're looking for.
exactly.
But the AI, thus, they have all the information about the products. They can really compare it even with other products. So it might be very interesting in the future and how this develops. The knowledge that, of course, an AI has is, of course, much more.
Yeah.
And that will be an interesting fact in e-commerce, I believe.
Yeah, we are working on that, element where we can deploy an
Mm.
AI assistant on your website, right? And in an e-commerce context, the customer is looking at this product. They can only read the description, the price, and the maybe reviews. But then AI assistant is like having a salesperson in your store talking to a customer about the intent, what questions that might have. That's not covered in a core product description, the reviews, the price, and the discounts. Why should you offer discount if customer's gonna buy, right? So it's really, if the customer is leaving, AI assistant will jump in and actually curate an offer right on the spot to to reduce the abandoned shopping cart instances. Like, we are going to see more and more of that in the commerce world.
I believe that's good, yeah, and we will definitely see that. And also, when you imagine, we had already those chat bubbles on the web stores and on the websites, but this is a one-on-one interaction. This is one person writing in. This is one person having 5, 6 chats simultaneously, but that cannot be as good as an AI knowing everything and having literally everything simultaneously.
Exactly. And there were some of those chatbots. The problem
Yeah,
with those chatbots is, you know, it's got a lot of limitation, and very quickly it runs out of answers to serve the
yeah.
customer. And then inevitably you end up with, sorry, I'm not trained in that. Please call on this number. Or let me have you,
Yeah, we transfer you too.
right? And
Thank you.
that's actually a very suboptimal experience. We are going to see a very enriched interactive experience, delivering personalized, targeted offer, promotions, discount based on who that visitor is and what their history on the site is.
Awesome. Thanks so much for your time. Last question for today. Who has taught you the most about e-commerce and AI in your career?
Very good question. I think rather than a one individual or company, I would put that to experiences. Learning by
Experience.
doing is probably the biggest teacher. In my instance, there was already a university courses and a bunch of training that I did, but there is no bigger teacher than an experience itself, and that's what has given me the most learning. All the failed campaigns, all the failed designs. You learn more from those failures and disasters than anything else. So
Oh yeah, I can fully agree to that. I mean, yeah, I think we do a lot. We are people that do a lot of research and go on to podcasts and looking YouTube videos, reading blogs and magazines. But the best thing we can do is learn by mistakes.
yes, that's it.
That's cool. Thanks so much again. And it was really very interesting talking about AI today, and especially how will AI develop is in the context of e-commerce. And I truly believe that that AI will help us in the sales aspect of e-commerce, but also in the creation process. And I'm very, very interested in how Zingify will develop in the future, because having an AI avatar of those stakeholders of a company that typically know a lot and the most about the company to assist customers, to assist employees, is something that we really can use a lot of. Thank you so much for your time. And guys, if you liked it, don't forget to review us, come back for the next episode, ring the bell, and whatever you need to do to listen to us again. Talk soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for having me, Norbert. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's it for this episode of the eCom Ops podcast. If you enjoyed listening and would like us find and interview more e-commerce operations experts, please search for eCom Ops podcast in your favorite podcast listening app and then subscribe, rate, and review. Until next time.